Plenty of pace on the cross, plenty of air underneath it as well. Saka! Beautifully hit, and how significant it could prove to be.
From the Men in Blazers studios in the crap part of Bedford, New York, and the crap part of Miami Beach, Florida, it's the Men in Blazers podcast.
We back! Like the NWSL, Davo. How are you holding up? You got a nasty case of March Madness fever?
Oh, my word. Who isn't behind St. Peter's, Rog? I love this. I love this story.
It's Doug Edith's world, and we were all just living in it.
To the Premier League football, Rog. Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 1. A game between two of the strongest hairlines in football management, and it was Mikel Arteta's hairline that took the lead in the 30th minute when, after a free kick, Bukayo Saka just drifted around the edge of the area and pounced on a loose ball and hit it through a thicket of defenders' legs and past an unsighted Emi Martinez. From there, a really impressive mental display from the Gunners, who battened down the hatches, especially in the last half hour. Reserve keeper Bernd Leno kept the clean sheet, and Arsenal took another big step forward towards a top four finish.
God, you know, Arsenal are not unlike the US men's national team in a perpetual fight, not just against their opponents, but for respect and for self-respect. That's Arsenal coming off a stinging defeat against Liverpool midweek. You know, you think you are a finished product, then along comes Klopp's mob to punish your mistakes and remind you that you're still Scrappy Doo. And so they travel to Villa, well aware that they lost their two previous visits to Birmingham. But this Villa, Stevie Gerrard's Villa, themselves coming off a languid defeat at West Ham. Stevie G won some against crap teams, barely competed against any club above Villa at kickoff, and he really is a manager in need of a signature win. So fascinating, the mix of mental questions ahead of this one, especially as Arsenal were without Martinelli, and just as importantly, the influential Aaron Ramsdale out for a few weeks with a hip injury. Minimal rest ahead of this one, early start. Could this be a pothole? And in truth, I thought this was a fantastic performance because the key players, Davo, hardly missed.
And, you know, meanwhile, what's interesting is Aubameyang is like having the, you know, his performance of the season in the El Clasico, and just Arsenal look like a complete squad all of a sudden. Yeah. They look superb. They have patterns of play that you're starting to recognize. It's sort of like a mini Man City. You're starting to look at the diagrams in the book and see, oh, that's that Arsenal move where Saka plays the ball in and then drifts inside. I really love watching them now.
I find that narrative that Arsenal fans, and I use that word loosely, like one that rhymes with me as Porgan, are trying to foment that it's just, oh, what are you doing, Arteta, you weak manager, letting Uber go? I truly believe great for Uber that he's motivated, spite motivated to step up again in La Liga. Sometimes, to say it nicely, I believe that a transfer can benefit both clubs. And you watch this young team without him, and I marvel at it. I really do. Every Arsenal player looks so bloody comfortable with the ball at their feet, so bloody confident the way they zip that ball around. To me, it's an absolute delight to watch them. And on the half-hour mark, they took a deserved lead. Saka, who had the crap kicked out of him all game long, spanked a low drive through so much traffic that Emi Martinez will barely have seen the shot till he was picking it out the back of the net, and Villa struggled to muster really much interest in scoring. With this team right now, you shut down Coutinho, and their threat is totally minimised. They only summoned a shot on target down the stretch with Ings on, flickering into life. Arsenal's backline deserves credit for their collective commitment and organisation. Dave, I said those words, collective commitment and organisation in connection to Arsenal. Toughness, resilience. You know, Ben White and Gabriel, excellent. You wouldn't have said that. I mean, those words, they almost seem oxymoronic for Arsenal in the last 5 years, but they are real, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the more impressive thing that Mikel Arteta has done with this team. And it's sort of in his own image as the player he was as well. Yes, they're offensively purring, but it's really that solidity at the back. Arsenal have offensively purred for years. They've had phases where they've done that. But the fact that they're so solid at the back now, they tackle hard in midfield, they run and run and run and run when they're defending off the ball, not just on the ball. I think that's why they're so improved.
Villa, Steven Gerrard smarted, remarkable. Watch it if you've not seen it. His post-match really, it's just deep, unmasked irritation when interviewed by Des Kelly in that post-match questioning, where the broadcaster pointed out that he is lost now to the big team, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and now Arsenal, and that's the gap they're trying to close. They're struggling to close the gap, even with their prodigious spending in January. You could tell from the interview, and I used to interview Stevie G a lot as a player. Stevie Gerrard, the player, was never used to being disrespected in the way Steven Gerrard, the manager, will be after performances like this one. At William of VB tweeted, Villa fighting hard to be champions of the bottom 10, Davo. I mean, Stevie G, how did you understand that?
Players just aren't used to it when they become managers because no one challenges them or they can deflect things so easily. They're never going to turn up and give an interview after a tough loss, or very, very rarely in their career, or only if they've had an outstanding game themselves and their team have lost. So this is tough for him. Look, it's difficult coming in mid-season. He hasn't really had time to work with the squad, work with the players. Obviously had a great transfer window bringing in Coutinho, but you're right, teams are now adjusted to that and are stopping him from playing and therefore sort of controlling the sort of, offensive midfield. And it's going to be hard, but we'll see. Just like you said of, Aubameyang going off and making it when challenged. Just, I watched Tammy Abraham play this weekend, another player who's gone abroad and after getting discarded by Chelsea in Italy this season, been remarkable. We'll see if Steven Gerrard can now sort of really step up. He had success early on at Rangers, and we'll really have to see what he's able to do now.
I really thought you'd ask more better questions, Des. Oh, Arsenal. Oh, what a way to rebound from the disappointment of the Liverpool loss. 10 wins in their last 13 games. Watching their players drop to their knees and celebrate victory at the final whistle. Really a reflection of the size of the task they're currently engaged in. Not just qualifying for Champions League again, but really exercising ghosts of failure recent, which have haunted them. And it was magnificent to watch for me, just as Liverpool are incredible to watch from the POV of a super team, a team that have done it without limitless funds. To me, in that context, Arsenal are really incredible to watch if you are, say, a United fan, a team who are a true collective, rebuilding and doing it rooted in youth and a real sense of cohesive collective play. One last note. Two things I love post-match. Ramsdale in his street clothes, hugging his replacement Bernd Leno in the moment of victory. Think about that from a collective spirit standpoint. And Saka taking a lap of honour towards the Arsenal away fans, hugging and being hugged. What a year he's had, Davo. A teenager during the Euros over the summer, a recipient of racist hate after his Euro final penalty miss, only to rebound like this, to lift the team and deliver the kind of wonder that fans have long ached for. It must feel magnificent.
Yeah, what a player. And doing it from, a sort of a wing-back position. Just phenomenal how often he gets involved in goals, both in terms of, assists and finishing. And he's a sneaky good finisher as well. He puts his laces through the ball and he scores some great goals. I think that's 10 in all competitions for the young man who, as he said, has bounced back so well.
Subscribe here for more Men in Blazers videos and courage.